YouTube, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the show. Hopefully you're having an amazing day, but you aren't going to believe what just dropped. That XRP $1,000 call, you know, the one that everyone said was impossible. We just got real confirmation from multiple angles, on-chain, macro, even political. That's right. Something massive is brewing. I am telling you right now. Altcoins, they are signaling the same kind of move that we only see once every decade. Trump, he's openly talking about paying off $35 trillion of debt with crypto. And you know what? The institutions, what are they doing? They're quietly positioning themselves for what might be the largest liquidity event in XRP's history. So here's the deal. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the proof, not hype, the proof that we're standing at the edge of an XRP-led super cycle that could send shockwaves through the entire crypto market. This isn't just a speculative event anymore, folks. This is all coordinated. It's all deliberate, and it is all perfectly timed. Let's jump in, because while you see these charts, these quotes, and these moves, you're going to understand why this $1,000 XRP call, it might just be possible after all, if it's not already in motion. We're going to start right here. Look at this data. Let me blow this up for those of you looking at the screen. Altcoins are doing something that we've only seen twice in history. The third MACD cross in 8 years just triggered. You want to know what happened the last two times? Back in 2016, right before Ethereum went from $1 on Ethereum all the way up to 1,400. 2020, remember when XRP was 17 cents, right when I entered the market? It ran back to $1.96. Now guess what? It's flashing again. Every single one of those crosses that mark the start of a multi-year altcoin super cycle. We're not talking about just a pump here. We're talking about a generational trade. And right now, no one is talking about it. Everyone's worried. Are we in a bear market? Is Bitcoin done? Did altcoins already pump? Chill for a second. Listen, this is just like before 2017, just like before 2021. That's exactly how these moves begin. Before the noise, before the hype, and before the headlines hit. And the coin sitting perfectly at this setup of all of this that is going on is XRP, because this time it's not just retail, everyone. It's global finance, it's tokenization, and now political power is aligning behind it, which moves us to this. Trump talking about paying off the $35 trillion with a freaking crypto check. So let's connect this with the macro shift that just dropped like a bomb. President Trump literally said, and I'm quoting this, folks, maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion debt by handing them a crypto check. How about a little Bitcoin? Now think about that for a second. The president of the United States just floated the idea of sovereign debt using crypto. That's not a meme. That is what we call a monetary revolution level talk. And remember, this is the same guy who back in 2019, he said Bitcoin was based on thin air. Now he's calling it a solution. Listen to this.
Who knows, maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand him a little crypto check, right? Hand him a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
But how do you want it to be more prominent in America? How will that work?
Oh, it's going to work easily. It's already prominent. It's moving along. It's very loosely regulated. That's one of the reasons it's moving along. But it is a different form of a currency, and it's going to end up benefiting the country. But if we shut it down, like, Biden's trying to shut it down, Biden doesn't have the intellect to shut it down. Can you imagine this guy's telling you to shut something down like that? He has no idea what the hell it is. But if we don't embrace it, it's going to be embraced by other people.
Hold on a second. He says if we don't embrace it, it's going to be embraced by other people. We've talked about this. He wants the U.S. to lead this crypto revolution that is going on. Keep going.
It's a massive thing already. Did you read where it's bigger than any company in the world already? I mean, if you look at the market, it's bigger than many countries. It's a very big thing. If we're not going to be the leader, we have the people that are the leaders. I know some of them. They're very smart. And if we don't embrace it, other countries are going to embrace it. Other countries will anyway. But we can be the leader, and we might as well be the leader.
Look, if you think that's all random, it's not. Because what happens if the U.S. starts integrating digital assets? Or should I say, what happens when the U.S. starts integrating digital assets? Because that is coming. And they're going to start integrating these digital assets into debt management, into settlement, or even into reserves. You guessed it, we get liquidity networks like XRP because it becomes critical infrastructure, right? And Trump didn't stop there, everyone, because then he comes out in another interview. He said Bitcoin takes a lot of pressure off of the dollar. It is a great thing for our country. That is wild. That's a political heavyweight right there, acknowledging that crypto helps the U.S. economy by absorbing debt pressure. Listen.
It's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces. And I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar, and it's a great thing for our country. So
So let's decode what this really means. If Bitcoin is the store of value, XRP, what does that make it? It makes it the transfer of value, right? Bitcoin holds wealth. XRP moves your wealth. One relieves dollar dominance, the other replaces the plumbing of the system itself, which brings us to the next domino, folks. That's right. And by the way, if you're watching this, hey, make sure you hit that thumbs up. If you want to actually get ahead of this crypto cycle and know what's going on, join my free newsletter. It's going to be down in the comment section of every single video. It's where I drop early charts, insider level macro setup, and hidden gems before they even hit YouTube. It is 100% free. And if you're serious about building during this cycle and beyond, you're going to need to be on that list, folks. Then we're talking about 300 trillion. This name right here might sound very familiar with you. Securitize. The partner with member BlackRock, Van Eck, Ripple, Securitize, RLUSD on ETH and XRP. That's this company. They're talking about a $300 trillion in assets are waiting to be tokenized. Who do we know is tokenizing assets? Who do we know already has adoption for tokenizing assets? So this is where our narrative shifts from crypto speculation to global financial architecture. Right now, over 300 trillion in global assets, and we're talking about real estate, stocks, bonds, commodities. They are all being prepared for tokenization. And guess which network is regulatory compliant? Guess which network is institutional ready? And guess which network is already being tested in global liquidity corridors? If you guessed the XRP ledger, you, my friend, you're right. This isn't retail fantasy. We're talking BlackRock City, the IMF, the BIS, all publicly aligning behind tokenization as the future of finance. And XRP sits right at that crossroad, ready to become the liquidity layer for tokenized assets worldwide. So when people ask, how could XRP ever hit $1,000? Well, you just point them right here. Because if even 0.1% of that 300 trillion runs through the XRP rails, we're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar flow. Then we get this. This is the groundbreaking news. This is absolutely massive. We're talking about Evernorth and the Evernorth moment. Sounds like a little riddle here, right? Evernorth, like XRP forever goes north. Am I doing this right, folks? XRP is an institutional accelerator. This is what this is right here. So this is where we go from theory to actual execution. Evernorth XRP, they just launched. This is the first of its kind institutional vehicle that is built to accelerate XRP adoption. I want you to think of it as the BlackRock of XRP, right? Designed to bring deep liquidity, institutional yield strategies, and real-world utility all under one roof. With over a decade of XRP ledger uptime and a growing DeFi ecosystem, this is the infrastructure moment that we have been waiting for. I want you to think about DeFi for a second, and I want you to think about what it has done to the price of both Ethereum and Solana. DeFi was the reason that those two networks and the prices of those assets has absolutely skyrocketed. But here's where it gets very, very interesting, right? This isn't about backroom deals. Dom says it the best. He says, FYI, the important thing to know about the XRP treasury company is that it will be buying XRP off the open market. Now, when you buy something off the open market, that causes the price to go up, and to go up in a massive way, right? The more money you get that's buying, the higher the price is going to go. So Evernorth, they have confirmed that their treasury company will be buying XRP directly from the open market. No discounts, no pre-sale allocations, just straight up market rate accumulation. That means real demand. That means real pressure. That means real price movement, folks. And that's before they go public. That's right, because they're going to be listing with the NASDAQ. Here we go. We got this as well. And look, if you're looking to book a one-on-one call with me and you face-to-face, we talk about everything related to crypto. It's your call, but you get all the answers that you are looking for. We go over tax advantages to crypto account setups to OTC, you name it. Hit that link down below. Get a call booked. Now, this is very interesting here. Because Evernorth gets announced, it gets launched. Ashish Burler, you can see Brad Garlinghouse and Joel Katz are both going to be on that board advising them. Chris Larson's giving them a bunch of XRP as well. But we get this piece of information and coming from Reuters. Evernorth, which is backed by Ripple, they are planning a NASDAQ listing to raise over $1 billion for what will become the largest publicly traded XRP treasury in existence. Let that sink in for a second. Let's digest that for a second. Raise over $1 billion on the largest publicly traded XRP treasury company in existence. We're talking about an XRP focused institutional fund going public on NASDAQ. Do you really think that Wall Street's going to ignore that? There's no shot. There is no shot. You know those ETFs that we're going to get? Because they're talking about the government reopening very soon. Those ETFs are going to be in high demand, folks. This is how the next wave of institutional money is going to enter. Legally, transparently, and at scale. No worrying about who Satoshi Nakamoto is and what he's going to do with all of his Bitcoin holdings. And the investor lineup behind this, it's absolutely killer's row. Look at this. Ashish and the Evernorth team are backed by some of the biggest names in crypto and finance. We're talking SBI. We're talking Pantera Capital. We're talking Kraken. We're talking GSR is one of the biggest market makers in the world. And we're talking about RippleWorks. These are not speculative investors, everyone. These are infrastructure builders. They're not betting on hype here. They're engineering the foundation of institutional lending, liquidity provisioning, and DeFi yield opportunities directly tied to XRP. This is the type of groundwork that precedes a global liquidity shift. And all of it feeds into one thing, the reevaluation of XRP as the utility backbone of the tokenized economy. Now let's drop the elephant in the room, that $1,000 call, because Jake, he's back at it.
Sounds good. So let's say
XRP price prediction. Just ETFs, I think somewhere between 10 and $50 is very reasonable. If we get all of the other catalysts, and I think we will, again, I give it a 95% certainty that it happens this year, you could easily have a 3 or 4 digit XRP by the end of 2025. 2026 to 2027, I think you'll see tokenization of derivatives, and that puts XRP at a 5-digit price.
Wow.
And then, beyond that, if you do have tokenization of real estate and all of these other real world assets, and 85% of that ends up on chain by the end of 2030, 6 figures by the end of 2030 for XRP. And then, if you wanted to go even further out, I do think that it'll reach the $1 million mark.
So if Evernorth succeeds here, right? Because the math checks out when we start to line everything up. If Evernorth succeeds, if institution tokenization ramps up, and if global liquidity begins routing through XRP rails, a $1,000 price target, it stops being hopium and starts being simple arithmetic. Because when you connect all the dots here, from macro debt crisis to crypto adoption by political leaders to 300 trillion in tokenized assets, you start to see the picture here, right? And don't forget about the institutional XRP accumulation. You start to see the full picture of this thing and how it could play out if everything does line up. So here's the truth. The XRP $1,000 call isn't just another wild headline. It is a signal. It is a convergence of cycles. It's institutions and timing that only happened twice before in history. We are standing on the edge of something generational. The charts are flashing. The politics, they are shifting. The infrastructure, it's here. And when the world finally wakes up, you're either going to be the one saying, I saw it coming, or you're going to be the one asking, how did I miss this? If you want to stay ahead of every XRP move before it hits the headlines, subscribe to that free newsletter. I drop early signal, whale move, and cycle updates before they hit the trend on crypto Twitter. It's free, it's fast, and honestly, it might just be the most valuable email you're going to open this entire bull run. Links down below. Stay sharp, my friends. Stay early. The XRP super cycle, it has already begun.